When we're using a tool, we're using it as it's designed to be. I wouldn't use a screwdriver to cut carrots. Now, even though I can, it would be silly if I do, and I would be disappointed when I don't get the expected result. The same as when we're using Scrum. We must be using it as it's designed to be. I have found there are quite many companies who are using Scrum as a project management tool and was disappointed with the result. Now, even though there are some institutions out there who made Scrum to be a project management methodology, Scrum was never intended for project management. Scrum was designed to be a framework for developing complex or innovative products. There is a huge difference between using Scrum as a product development framework versus as a project management methodology. In today's video, I will answer Alicia's question and we will learn how to use Scrum from product perspective and get the most out of it. So stick around folks, because I will be back right after this one. Yep, that is right. I've got my hair blue folks. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel as I have a goal to reach 10,000 subscribers this year. We are close to getting there, and I promise you I will dye my hair blue and I will appear with my blue hair in the next video after I get 10,000 subscribers. This channel has reached 10,000 subscribers thanks to all of your support. Now, your support and passion in making changes at your workplace is what kept me uploading videos to this channel. This channel is successful when you are successful in influencing change at your workplace. Now, for those of you who are new to this channel, welcome on board to the community of passionate change makers. My name is Joshua Partugi. I'm a professional Scrum trainer through Scrum.org based in Brisbane, Australia. Glad to have you on board with our community. Hopefully you will gain some insights from this channel that you can take away and implement at your workplace. So without further ado, let's break down the differences between project perspective and product perspective, and then we will learn how to use Scrum with product perspective. As defined by Project Management Institute, a project is a temporary effort to deliver something of value to the customer. A project can be a vehicle to deliver a product. Because the nature of a project is temporary, it has a beginning and an end. Quite often, the end of the project lifecycle is when the product has been delivered, while the beginning of the project lifecycle is when the organization made a plan and defined the requirements. The beginning and the end of the project lifecycle is defined internally by the people in the company. And quite often there are many assumptions that come into play when people in the company define the requirement for the product. In project management, the biggest commitment about the amount of investment is made when there is least understanding about how the product performs in the market and how it will be used by the customer. We don't do that when making life choices because it just doesn't make any sense. However, this thought process is the norm in project management. In many contexts within a project lifecycle, the company only releases the product once, and usually it is at the end of the project lifecycle. Many companies assume that if all of the requirements are well identified and well defined up front, value will be reaped once the product is released at the end of the project lifecycle. Now, this is a dangerous assumption. From here, we can say that the project perspective is about the delivery process or the how. Project perspective is about seeing it from the company who delivers the product. Product perspective is different from project perspective. It's much broader and long-term perspective. The whole point of developing a product is to sustain the product as long as possible in the market. Delivering the product is just the first step. The success of a product is measured by its sustainability in the market and the value it generates both for the business and also for the customers. The length of the product lifecycle ideally is as long as possible because we want to sustain the product as long as possible in the market. Therefore, the length of a product lifecycle is generally longer than a project lifecycle. The beginning of the product lifecycle is when the product comes into existence into the market, while the end of the product lifecycle is often unpredictable. Because unlike in a project lifecycle, the end of the product lifecycle is defined by the customer. That is when the customer no longer wants to use the product or when the product no longer generates good return on investment to the company. Now, from here we can say that a product perspective is about the what or the tangible item that will be used by the customer. Product perspective is all about seeing it from the customer lens. Scrum is a framework for developing complex or innovative products. Sustaining innovative products, especially digital products in the market, and ensuring it continuously delivers value, requires hard work and creativity. What we think of as a technology revolution might not gain any traction in the market, or it might take a long time before it gains wide adoption in the market. There are quite many products that failed in the market, not because it's low quality or because it's not revolutionary, but because it was developed based on unvalidated assumptions. When we're using Scrum, we should using it from a product perspective rather than a project perspective. We need to have a long-term vision to sustain the product beyond just the delivery lifecycle. We also need to have product goals as stepping stones towards that product vision. We will learn about the differences between product vision and product goal in my next video, so stay tuned and subscribe to this channel so you won't miss out. We need to view the product backlog as a list of assumptions that needs to be validated instead of a fixed requirements that needs to be locked to the stone. That's why the nature of the product backlog is emergent. We also need to release the increments delivered by the Scrum team frequently so we can get the product in the hand of the customer to validate our assumptions earlier. Even better if the Scrum team can release the increments multiple times within a sprint. Many Scrum teams who already practice DevOps would already do that. That's why Scrum requires the increment to be at a releasable state at least once a sprint. The definition of done contains the checklist to ensure that the product is always at a releasable state. Releasing frequently reduces technical risk and also increases the confidence of both the product owner and also the developers. Now, value should only be the indicator of a successful product, and by releasing early and frequently, we can generate business value early and more frequently. Not only is the product delivery iterative and incremental, budgeting should also be iterative and incremental. We can scale the amount of investment for the product development as we see more value coming through the product. Not only does this make more sense, but also less risky to the business. Many companies still have wrong expectations from Scrum. They still expect the product developed using Scrum to be delivered on time, on scope, and on budget. And that wrong expectation comes from a misperception that Scrum is a project management method. This wrong expectation and misperception is how many companies actually ended up with water scrumfall and feature factories. The most important question to answer in product delivery is not how to deliver on time, on scope, and on budget. Because you can deliver a product on time, on scope, and on budget, but it's delivered at the wrong time with wrong functionalities and suboptimal return on investment. When using Scrum, the most important question to answer is how to deliver the right product with the right functionalities at the right time with optimal return on investment. Now, oftentimes the answer to this question comes out of serendipity instead of a big fat upfront plan. Releasing frequently increases our chances to have serendipity. As defined in Scrum Guide, the whole Scrum team has a collective accountability to ensure the product delivered is always valuable. All of the activities to manage the product delivery and to sustain the product in the market is managed by the whole Scrum team. The Scrum team therefore does not need a project manager or a program manager or a portfolio manager to manage them. Now check out my video by clicking the link up here to see my elaborative explanation why the Scrum team does not need a project manager. So let's wrap this up, folks. Scrum is about validating assumptions. That's what empiricism is all about. Now, using Scrum with product perspective is about validating assumptions early and often by releasing the product to the real customers and refine the product backlog using those feedback from how those customers are using the product. So that is all from me today, folks. Hopefully today's video gives you the right perspective and the right expectation when using Scrum. Since a decade ago until today, I have been passionate to challenge the status quo and improve the way people in companies work together in delivering products. So I would like to thank all of you once again for getting me to this new milestone of 10,000 subscribers. Seeing so much support from all of you just convinced me even more that I'm already on the right path. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, so that we as a community can bring more influence in the world of work. Until then, stay curious and deliver something amazing for your customers. Bye everyone.